Hello and welcome to the Leadership Transition course. In this model, we will start looking at the iceberg model, which focuses on knowledge, skills, behaviors, and values and auditing. But first, what is the iceberg model? So in this model, we will describe what it is, and we will tell you as an aspiring leader or manager how you can use this to better manage your team or lead your team, or also for yourself. Because first it starts with you. So what is the iceberg model? It's simply a system of thinking, a way of thinking, a kind of tool designed to help you as a person or an individual or group to be aware of the pattern of behavior that you see, not only in yourself, but also in others, and to be able to figure out in a particular situation or event how best to approach that situation if there's a problem there. So to give you more insight on that, the way you should look at this is it's called an iceberg because if you think of an ice on the sea or ocean, for example, when you're on a ship and you see a big mountain of ice on the water, what you don't realize is that beneath that part of the ice that you see, below it could be a bigger chunk of it, which is keeping the ones that you see at the top visible and steady. And the analogy here is that there are things when you deal with people and yourself that you should be aware of. There are things that are visible to the eyes or visible and we are aware of, things that has to do with artifacts or behavior that we can see or notice without the people or you being able to hide it. And there are things beneath that that really influences those behaviors that we see. And those are the things that are invincible or they're not within consciousness or our awareness. And those things can be the type of belief we have, the assumptions we make, the norms, the culture, and the value. Therefore, as a leader, you need to understand that in dealing with situations and people, you must be aware that there are things that are visible, obvious on their own, and observable. These are more like, for example, the results of the action someone does and the behavior which you see him display or the habit. So let's take, for example, Sarah, who is in one of our fictional case study having some issues with behavior of some team members, might be more worried with the fact that, okay, it could be that they see a lot of results, the results are not going well. The behavior of the person is such that, okay, this is not what I want. But what could actually be the problem or the thing causing it? And then as a manager leader, you have to start asking yourself, you know, you know, is there something about the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts, the values, and the beliefs of that person? Because as you go from the bottom up, starting from one's belief or values and assumption, you start affecting the upwards. Things like how you think about things, that affects your emotions, and then the behaviors shows that, and then that could ultimately end up in your performance or the result of the things you do not going well. And that is what you need to take into account as a leader, this impact or the way this works. So what does that mean when you look at management and leadership and your skills that we talked about with the iceberg model? So when you see an iceberg at the top, mostly these are things related to project management. So when you're managing things and you see the plan, the outcome, what people do, the experiments, but then below that, in order to step people to be able to manage your project, below those project management skills that you have, you also need leadership skills in your project, which we also talked about in our earlier videos. This is why managing is different from leading. So leading deals with those skills or things that are not visible to the eyes when you deal with people. And managing has to do more with things which you can see. You know the outcomes. They are already planned. Performance, the culture we agreed on, and what organization is experiencing. But then there are certain things that guide you as a person or people that you manage, and the beliefs which you need to take into account. How are things organized? And what is the whole frame structure? And the belief that people use in driving their motives and why they do work the same way they do it. And based on that, you have to look at several little things like perceptions, the values, unwritten rules that are not written on paper but people exhibit it. And also for you as a leader, you can also assume things in a way based on the way you were trained or you grow up, and that can affect how you lead other things that eventually comes out in terms of behavior and result that people see. So it's a vice versa thing. You as a leader need to be aware of the things beneath the iceberg for you in terms of your own values, your norm, and the type of person you are. And you will have to map that to other people as well who may have different or similar uh, culture or behavior or norm. And then how this shows eventually in your results or projects or even in the people you manage. And that can help you get a lot of things done if you can really use the leadership skills of soft skills for communicating and forming a relationship in a way with people that they can trust you and they know who you are. So thank you for listening to this topic.